when a frightened little boy stood alone in the chaos of an airport, clutching a worn-out toy airplane. No one seemed to notice, no one except Keanu Reeves. What began as a routine trip to his film set quickly turned into a heart-stopping encounter, reminding us all that even the smallest act of kindness can change a life forever. Keanu Reeves was just another traveler that day, blending into the hurried crowd at a bustling airport, his mind preoccupied with the demands of an upcoming film set. But amidst the whirlwind of rolling suitcases and hurried announcements, something unusual caught his eye: a young boy, no older than 6, standing frozen in fear. His tiny frame seemed swallowed by the chaos around him. He clutched a worn toy airplane so tightly that his knuckles turned white, his wide, tearful eyes darting around in desperation. In a sea of indifferent faces, the boy's silent plea for help was painfully clear. Keanu, known for his quiet demeanor and unassuming kindness, felt a tug at his heart. This wasn't a moment to pass by. Without hesitation, he approached the boy, kneeling down to meet his gaze. "Hey there, buddy," he said softly, his voice steady and warm amidst the noise. "Are you okay? Are you lost?" The boy's lips quivered as he nodded, his small voice barely audible. I can't find my mom." The words struck Keanu, and in that moment, everything else faded. This child needed someone right now, and that someone had to be him. Before we dive deeper into this incredible story of courage, kindness, and an unexpected twist that left even Keanu Reeves shaken, I want to take a moment to connect with all of you, my amazing viewers. Where are you watching from today? Drop your country's flag in the comments below. And if you've ever felt the magic of helping someone in need or been touched by a stranger's kindness, hit that like button. This story is about to remind us all just how powerful those moments can be. Keanu stayed kneeling beside the boy, his gentle presence cutting through the chaos of the busy airport terminal. "What's your name, buddy?" he asked, keeping his tone light and reassuring. The boy hesitated for a moment, then whispered, "Sam." His small voice trembled, and his tiny fingers clung to the toy airplane as if it were his lifeline. Keanu smiled softly. "Hi, Sam. I'm Keanu. We'll figure this out together, okay?" Sam's eyes darted nervously around the terminal, scanning the sea of strangers rushing past without a second glance. "I was with my mom," he began, his voice breaking slightly. "But then I couldn't see her anymore." Keanu's chest tightened at the boy's quiet vulnerability. He reached out, his hand hovering near Sam's shoulder but not quite touching, offering comfort without overwhelming him. "It's okay," Keanu said. "We'll find her. You're not alone anymore." As he spoke, Keanu's gaze swept the terminal. He looked for anyone who might be frantically searching for a lost child, a mother with panicked eyes, calling a name into the crowd. But there was no one. His sense of unease deepened. "Do you remember where you last saw her?" Keanu asked, trying to piece together the situation. Sam shook his head, tears welling in his eyes. She was right there. But then she was gone. Just as Keanu was about to reassure Sam again, a woman approached them. She was dressed sharply, her heels clicking decisively against the polished floor. Her demeanor was calm, too calm. Her eyes locked onto Sam with an intensity that made Keanu's instincts prick with unease. "There you are," she exclaimed, her tone laced with forced warmth. She knelt down, placing a hand on Sam's arm. "Sam, I've been looking everywhere for you." Keanu studied her closely, his sharp instincts noticing the subtle tension in her smile. Something wasn't right. Sam didn't move toward her, his grip on the toy airplane tightening as he shrank closer to Keanu. "Who are you?" Keanu asked evenly, his voice calm but firm. The woman didn't falter. "I'm his aunt," she said smoothly. "I've been looking after him while his mother steps away. She asked me to find him if we got separated." Sam's reaction spoke louder than words. His wide eyes darted between Keanu and the woman, fear flickering in his expression. "Sam," Keanu said softly, leaning closer to the boy, Do you know this lady? The boy's lips trembled, and after a moment, he shook his head almost imperceptibly. The woman's smile tightened as she straightened up, her hand still gripping Sam's arm. It's okay, she said briskly. I'll take it from here. But Keanu didn't budge. He could feel the tension radiating from Sam, and his gut told him to trust the boy's silent plea. I think we should find airport security, Keanu said calmly, keeping his voice neutral to avoid escalating the situation. The woman's demeanor shifted. Her smile grew brittle, and her grip on Sam's arm tightened slightly. There's no need for that, she said, her tone growing defensive. I've got it under control. Keanu's steady gaze didn't waver. It's standard procedure when a child is lost, he replied. Let's make sure everything is sorted out properly. Before the woman could protest further, Keanu subtly signaled to a nearby airport employee. The attendant approached, her face a mix of curiosity and concern. Is everything okay here? She asked, glancing between Keanu, Sam, and the woman. This boy says he's lost, Keanu explained, his calm voice carrying authority. She claims to be his aunt, but I think we need to involve security to confirm that. The attendant nodded, her professionalism kicking in as she radioed for assistance. The woman's composure began to crack. This is unnecessary, she snapped, her tone sharp now. I'm his family. We don't need security. But the attendant ignored her protests, her focus shifting to Sam. Are you okay, sweetie? She asked gently. The boy looked at Keanu, his fear palpable, but he managed a small nod. Moments later, 2 security guards arrived, their presence adding weight to the already tense situation. Keanu quickly explained what had happened, keeping his voice steady as he recounted the details. The guards listened carefully, their eyes narrowing as they turned their attention to the woman. Ma'am, we'll need to verify your identity and relationship to the child, one of the guards said firmly. The woman's jaw tightened, and her eyes darted around as though calculating her next move. Keanu stayed close to Sam, his protective instincts heightened. It's okay, Sam, he said softly, his voice a steady anchor amidst the growing tension. These people are here to help. You're safe now. Sam looked up at Keanu, his eyes brimming with gratitude and trust. As the security guards began their questioning, the woman's calm facade unraveled further. Keanu watched closely, ready to step in if needed, knowing that whatever was happening, this boy deserved nothing less than absolute protection. What started as a quiet act of kindness had now turned into a pivotal moment where courage and compassion were the only things standing between a vulnerable child and potential danger. The arrival of security guards added a palpable weight to the air. The 2 officers approached with a calm but assertive presence, their uniforms and steady gait exuding authority. One of them, a middle-aged man with a firm but kind demeanor, addressed the situation immediately. What's going on here? He asked, his eyes moving between Keanu, the boy, and the woman whose composure was visibly starting to unravel. Keanu remained steady, gently placing a hand on Sam's shoulder to reassure him. This boy says he's lost, Keanu explained clearly, his voice calm but resolute. She claims to be his aunt, but he doesn't seem to recognize her. Sam's trembling form clung closer to Keanu, his wide, tearful eyes speaking volumes. The woman attempted to interject, her voice sharp and defensive. I already told you, I'm his guardian. There's no need for all this. But her forced smile and restless shifting betrayed her growing discomfort. The officer raised a hand to silence her. Ma'am, we'll need to confirm your identity and relationship to the child. Please provide some form of identification. The woman hesitated for a beat too long, her hands fumbling in her bag. Keanu watched intently, every fiber of his being on high alert. He knelt down slightly, whispering to Sam, It's okay. You're doing great. Just stay close to me. The boy nodded faintly, his grip on the worn toy airplane unrelenting. As the woman handed over a driver's license, her demeanor grew more brittle, The officers inspected it briefly, their professional expressions giving nothing away. Do you have anything else that confirms you're his guardian? School forms, a letter, anything? The second officer pressed. The woman's eyes flickered with panic. I don't have that on me right now, she stammered. The first officer turned his attention to Sam. He crouched down, speaking softly. Hey there, buddy. Can you tell me your mom's name? Or anything about where she might be? Sam hesitated, his voice trembling as he replied. Her name is Emily. She was right here, but then I couldn't find her. The woman's expression faltered, and she opened her mouth to speak, but no words came out. The officers exchanged a knowing glance. We'll locate your mother, Sam, the first officer assured him, standing up. Ma'am, we're going to need to ask you a few more questions. At that moment, a frantic voice echoed through the terminal. Sam, where are you? Everyone turned as a woman came running toward them, her face flushed and streaked with tears. It was Emily, Sam's mother. Her wild, panicked eyes scanned the scene until they locked onto her son. Mom! Sam cried, his voice breaking as he ran toward her. He dropped his toy airplane in the process, his little legs carrying him as fast as they could. Emily fell to her knees, wrapping her arms around him tightly as sobs racked her body. Oh, baby, I was so scared. I thought I'd lost you, she whispered, her voice cracking with emotion. Keanu stepped back slightly, giving them space but unable to tear his eyes away from the raw, overwhelming emotion of the reunion. Sam buried his face in his mother's chest, his small frame trembling as he clung to her. I couldn't find you, he said between hiccuping sobs. I was so scared. It's okay now, sweetheart. I'm here, Emily said, stroking his hair and kissing the top of his head repeatedly. Her voice was shaky but filled with relief. You're safe. The officers approached Emily gently, verifying her identity and quickly piecing together the situation. The woman, now visibly cornered, tried to defend herself. I was just trying to help, she muttered weakly, but her earlier confidence had completely evaporated. The officers weren't swayed. Ma'am, we'll need you to come with us for further questioning, one of them said firmly. The woman's protests grew fainter as she was escorted away, her figure shrinking into the distance as the weight of her actions caught up with her. Emily turned her tear-streaked face to Keanu, her eyes filled with gratitude. Thank you, she said, her voice shaking. I don't even know how to begin to thank you. You saved him. Keanu offered her a small, warm smile, his usual humility shining through. I'm just glad he's safe now, he said simply. That's all that matters. Emily held Sam tightly, as if letting go might make him disappear again. Sam peeked up at Keanu from his mother's embrace, his small voice piping up. Thank you, Mr. Keanu. Keanu knelt down to meet Sam's gaze one last time. You're a brave little guy, Sam, he said softly, his voice kind and steady. Stick close to your mom. Okay. She loves you a lot. Sam nodded, his small hand reaching out to hold his mother's even tighter. The sight tugged at Keanu's heart, a poignant reminder of the power of human connection and the importance of stepping up when it truly matters. As the officers led the woman away and the terminal returned to its usual rhythm, Keanu stood up, ready to finally make his way to the film set. But as he walked toward his gate, he glanced back one last time. Emily and Sam were still holding each other tightly, their bond seemingly stronger than ever. Keanu knelt beside Sam and his mother one last time, his calm presence grounding them both after the whirlwind of emotions. Sam, still holding his mother's hand as tightly as he could, looked up at Keanu with wide eyes that shimmered with gratitude. The boy's innocence and courage had left a lasting impression on Keanu, and he wanted to ensure Sam understood just how brave he had been. You're a strong kid, Sam, Keanu said, his voice warm and steady. Even when things felt scary, you held on. That takes real courage. And your mom? She loves you more than anything. Always remember that, okay? Sam nodded earnestly, a small, shy smile breaking across his face. He clutched his toy airplane, now slightly scuffed from being dropped in the chaos. Thank you, Mr. Keanu, he whispered, his words carrying a sincerity beyond his years. His gratitude was simple yet profound, and it struck a chord deep within Keanu. Keanu reached out and gently placed a hand on the boy's shoulder. Stick with your mom, he said with a reassuring smile. You two make a great team. Sam nodded again, this time with a bit more confidence, his gaze lingering on Keanu as though memorizing every word. Emily, overcome with emotion, wiped her tear-streaked face and turned to Keanu. You didn't just help us today, she said, her voice trembling. You gave me my son back. I can never repay you for that. Her words carried the weight of a mother's deepest fears and the immense relief that came with seeing those fears dissolve. Keanu smiled humbly, shaking his head slightly. No need to thank me, he replied softly. I'm just glad I was here when you needed someone. His tone was simple, yet it carried a profound truth. Helping wasn't about recognition. It was about doing the right thing. As he stood up, Keanu glanced back at the reunited pair, feeling a quiet sense of fulfillment. Walking away, he allowed himself a moment to reflect on what had just unfolded. The buzz of the airport seemed distant now, replaced by the vivid memory of Sam's wide, frightened eyes and the look of pure relief on Emily's face when she found her son. He thought about how easy it would have been to keep walking earlier, to dismiss the little boy as someone else's problem. Life was full of those moments, split seconds where the choice to stop or continue on seemed inconsequential. But this time, he had stopped, and that single decision had changed everything. Keanu's thoughts turned inward as he navigated through the terminal. He'd always believed in the power of small acts of kindness, but today had reinforced just how impactful they could be. It wasn't about grand gestures or public recognition. Often, it was the quiet, unseen moments that mattered the most. The simple act of noticing someone in need, of being present and choosing to care, could create ripples far beyond what anyone could anticipate. As the gate for his flight came into view, Keanu smiled to himself, recalling the small but profound interaction with Sam. In a world that often felt chaotic and disconnected, moments like these reminded him of the strength of human connection. He felt a renewed commitment to staying present, to paying attention to the people around him, no matter how busy or overwhelming life could get. Emily watched Keanu walk away, holding Sam close as though to shield him from the world. Her gratitude was immeasurable, a deep well of emotion that she couldn't begin to express fully. He's a good man, she whispered to herself, brushing a hand through Sam's hair. Sam, still clutching his toy airplane, looked up at her and nodded. He's like a superhero, he said quietly, his young voice filled with admiration. As Keanu boarded his flight, he settled into his seat by the window and took a deep breath. The hum of the engines provided a welcome backdrop to his thoughts. Looking out at the tarmac, he allowed himself a rare moment of satisfaction. It wasn't the kind of satisfaction that came from completing a project or winning an award. It was the quiet knowledge that he'd made a difference in someone's life. Keanu's mind lingered on the scene at the terminal, the image of Sam running into his mother's arms, their tears of relief blending together, replayed like a vivid movie in his mind. He thought about the courage it took for Sam to hold on, the desperation of a mother who refused to give up, and the importance of stepping in when the world turns a blind eye. The flight attendant's announcement pulled him from his thoughts, and he turned his attention to the present. As the plane began to ascend, Keanu felt a sense of peace. The world outside the window stretched endlessly, a reminder of just how vast and interconnected everything truly was. For him, this was more than just a chance encounter. It was a reaffirmation of something he'd always known. Even the smallest acts of kindness could ripple outward, touching lives in ways that might never be fully seen or understood. And in a world that often felt cold or indifferent, Choosing to care was the most powerful thing anyone could do. As the plane leveled out, Keanu glanced around at the passengers. Everyone seemed lost in their own thoughts, their own lives. Much like the crowd at the airport, he smiled faintly, thinking, maybe if we all looked up just a little more often, the world would be a kinder place. He leaned back in his seat, closing his eyes and letting the weight of the day slip away. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, new opportunities to make a difference. For now, he allowed himself the quiet comfort of knowing that today, he had made the right choice. And maybe, just maybe, somewhere down the line, Sam would grow up remembering this day not just for the fear or the relief, but for the simple truth that someone cared enough to stop. That, Keanu thought, was more than enough. This story is more than just an encounter at an airport. It's a reminder of the quiet power of kindness and the incredible impact we can have when we choose to act. Keanu Reeves didn't have to stop. He didn't have to take time out of his day, delay his plans, or involve himself in a stranger's life. But he did. And that single act of compassion changed everything for a little boy and his mother. Now, I want to ask you something. How many moments like this do we pass by every day without noticing? How often are we too caught up in our own worlds to see someone who might need just a little help? This story isn't just about Keanu, it's about all of us. It's about the small choices we make that can ripple outward, creating waves of positivity that we may never fully see. If the story moved you, if it reminded you of the importance of connection and compassion, share it with someone who could use a little inspiration today. And before you go, let's connect. Where are you watching from? Drop your country's flag in the comments below. And if you believe that kindness still matters in this world, hit that like button to show your support. Together, we can make these small, powerful moments a little more common. Because at the end of the day, it's not about being a hero, it's about being human. Thank you for watching. And don't forget to subscribe for more heartwarming stories that remind us of what really matters. Until next time, take care of each other. And remember, every action counts.